Janome.
Hello, my name is Heidi Perfetti, and today we're going to be talking about cloth guides, specifically Janome's brand new cloth guide designed for the Continental Series sewing machines. This cloth guide comes as a standard accessory for the fabulous new M17, which made its debut in the spring. And now this cloth guide is available as an optional accessory for the Continental M7 sewing machine. Okay, here are a few of my sample boards with some embellished ribbon. These are 1-inch pieces of ribbon, so I could have used the ribbon sewing guide to embellish these ribbons, but I chose to use the cloth guide, and it worked out very nicely. In this first example on the green ribbon, I've chose a decorative stitch and a satin stitch, and basically created this pattern down my ribbon in a red and a white thread color. In this next example, it's a much smaller piece of ribbon. It is a 1/2-inch gold ribbon stacked on top of a 3/4-inch red ribbon, and I've embellished it with some satin stitch, again, going down the center of that gold ribbon, using that cloth guide to help me center. And in this next example, I chose an elongation satin stitch. That's these green leaves right here. And then I went back in and added the red satin stitch for the berry. And in the last example, I've created a programmed a combination of stitches. So a satin stitch and then 4 decorative stitches, and then ended with a satin stitch to create this little Christmas tree pattern down this ribbon. In this next example board, I have done some font work. And basically I chose the 9mm block font inside the M7, and a couple festive words and some red and green thread, and stitched using the cloth guide, centering my words down along this cross grain ribbon. And across this finished piece of ribbon, you can see that I've taken my seam ripper and picked out the connecting stitches between the words. Now, this is an example where the specialty foot and the ribbon sewing guide would not be able to help out too much, because these are pieces of ribbon that are 2.5 inches and 1.5 inch in size. So they're too large to work with the ribbon sequin foot or the ribbon sewing guide. This is where the cloth guide comes in real handy. So I use the cloth guide to help me center my columns, if you will, of decorative stitching along my ribbon. In this example here, I've just used, again, a stack of 2 ribbons, but it is a 1.5 inch wide ribbon. So it worked out really nicely to use the cloth guide to help me center that design along the ribbon. So this is a little basket of towels, and I've used one of my embellished ribbons with a bow to decorate my gift. Sprig of artificial greens. And again, I've attached my stacked ribbon with my embellished stitching going down that gold satin ribbon. And then in this example here, this is a candle wrap that I've designed, where again, I used a sheer ribbon and stacked on top of it a black velvet, and used the cloth guide to help me center this little bow satin stitch along the center of that black ribbon. And this looks really pretty at night because the candlelight shines through that nice sheer ribbon, giving it a really nifty effect. Okay, so let me take you now into the sewing room, and we'll attach the cloth guide, and we'll actually take a look at how it works. Okay, so here I have a piece of my decorative ribbon, and you can see that I've already embellished the left-hand side of the white ribbon with some green stitching. I'm going to do the same now for you on the right-hand side. And in this case, I'm not exactly going to use the markings on my cloth guide. I'm going to visually line up my needle with where I want that green stitching to begin. And then I'm going to lock my cloth guide into place, and I'm going to stitch my design down my ribbon. So sometimes you don't necessarily need to use the markings on the cloth guide. You can actually do some manual alignment. But still taking advantage of this lip, I'm butting, or cloth guide, I'm butting my fabric up against that lip to keep my stitching nice and straight. Okay, I'm gonna lock, and I have my automatic scissors turned on, so it's gonna trim my threads. Okay. Okay, now, you remember that Christmas tree pattern combination that I showed you in my samples? I'm going to go into my saved file because I have my pattern saved, and here it is, this Christmas tree. And basically now what I'm going to show you is how I go down the center, use the cloth guide to go down the center of the ribbon to align that design. Okay. Okay, and once you have it aligned, away you go. My ribbon has been stabilized with a stick-on wash-away stabilizer. You can also use a tear-away stabilizer, but because you're using denser decorative stitches, you do need to use some kind of stabilizer on these ribbons. I'll let that just finish up here, and I'm going to lock it off. Okay, and there we go. A couple of Christmas trees stitched down the center of that ribbon. Isn't that nice?